23163. All right, we are set. We're on the record today for the initial disposition of Mr. Joseph Miller. May I have the names of our participants, please, beginning with our guardian ad litem.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ariel Berger here on behalf of Lee Heiss as LGAL.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nastasia Thomas, counsel for the department. Ms. Kopis.
Eva Kopis, child welfare specialist with MDHHS.
Michael Brooks, I represent Mr. Miller, sir.
Joseph Miller.
All right, Ms. Berger, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was able to conference with Ms. Heiss on this case briefly yesterday and get an update from her. She has been able to visit all 4 girls in person. She does say that needs are being minimally met. There have been some concerns with dad. He's not been able to verify income. He does seem to be a bit behind with rent, things like that. She is recommending that they be placed with Guy Avalos. They do want, the girls do want to kind of, tough it out, but because of those concerns, she is recommending placement there. She states that the house is very clean, that sorry, I'm reviewing her notes right now. There's a lot on this case. In relation to the other dad, Father Miller, she believes that he does not have appropriate housing for the children right now, that he is behind on support, and it's still very low. So it is concerning that he has been so far behind. She is recommending that he set up child support, that he not have any criminal contact. Mom has not been able to schedule a meeting with the GAL yet, but she does plan to do so as soon as possible. Mom has been in communication with her, so that is a positive. Other than that, I don't believe she has any other recommendations. Thank you.
Testimony this morning, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. Kopis can please be sworn in.
Come on up to wherever you stand.
Does not take my report with me.
Sure, go ahead. She's gonna take her notes with her, so if anybody has any questions about what she may be referring to, it's her report, and to make any objections you need to. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good morning, Ms. Kopis. You have prepared a court report and a case service plan for today's hearing, correct?
Yes.
And are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to either of those documents?
I just wanted to make the court aware that we have had a family team meeting yesterday to discuss placement, to address some of the concerns that were outlined in the report, as well as noted by the LGAL. We continue to not recommend this as the placement for the 2 older girls. We do believe that our concerns are not being rectified in a timely manner, and that they can continue to cause concerns moving forward.
In your report, there's an indication of a paternal grandmother, I believe, who lives in Toledo.
And in
Or much.
preparing, yes. So in preparing for this hearing and preparing for the FTMI, I was able to actually talk to several relatives. I spoke with a maternal aunt, Kim. I spoke with maternal grandmother, Jackie, and I spoke with maternal great aunt, Christine, all regarding placement and what that would potentially look like. It does appear as though Jackie Burry and her daughter Kimberly are not living in the state, and so an interstate compact would have to be completed for that home study. I did complete a home study for the aunt living here in Michigan. She lives in Livonia, and that home is appropriate.
We're here today for dad's disposition, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And at this time, do you believe that there would be a risk of harm if the children were to be released to his care and custody today?
You.
And can you just briefly summarize what that would be, the risk of harm?
The risk of harm, at this point, I have seen father's housing. It is a 1-bedroom apartment. The concerns are that he has not seen his children since approximately 2016. They are not bonded to him. They do not know of him or really have a rapport or bond with him. And so we would be placing them with essentially someone they do not know. The concerns are that there are other things in his treatment plan that have not been addressed or ordered yet to be rectified in order for the children to be placed with him.
The reunification, or the goal for this case though is reunification, correct?
It is.
Okay. And over the 2 older girls, they're in a direct placement, correct?
My understanding is a court-ordered placement, yes.
Okay. And if the department were to have the ability to change the Mr. Miller's children's placement, where is the recommendation for them to go with the aunt in Livonia, or what is the recommendation at this time?
The aunt in Livonia is willing to provide placement for the children until we can get an interstate completed. The family as a whole does believe that the grandmother is the most well bonded and has the most rapport with the children. And so they would like to support the family towards an interstate.
And how long would the ICPC process take, if you have any idea?
It does take at least 2 to 3 months. We would be on the Ohio timeframe for that to come back. That is something that I have discussed with the family, so they are aware the timeframe that it would take. And then we would have to discuss whether that placement was approved or not, depending on Ohio standards.
And in the meantime, if the children are moved with their aunt, efforts towards reunification would continue with both mom and dad, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the current barrier to reunification or the children? I know you mentioned this in your risk of harm testimony, but what would be the barriers to reunifying the children today with either parent, but specifically Mr. Miller at this time?
So we're looking for some mental health treatment for dad. My understanding is that he is currently on Social Security for mental health. And so we would be looking for him to address those concerns and ensure that he is stable, as well as parenting education and the therapeutic visiting process. The girls, as an example, when we were at one of our previous hearings, saw Mr. Miller and did not recognize him as who he was. So I do believe that there is a great displace between dad and children, that bond needs to be rectified. The girls are not even visiting right now with mother. They're really struggling to wrap their brains around both parents at this time. And so I think that would cause an additional barrier if you were to have them stay. It also would be taking them a great deal at this point away from their sisters, their school, their community. Mr. Miller lives over an hour away.
And just so that everyone's sort of on the same page, if placement happens in Livonia, the children are going to have to change their community, correct?
They are.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, have the 2 older girls, Mr. Miller's children, articulated any preference about that?
They have indicated that they wish to remain with their sisters. They believe that things are okay as they are. But they are bonded and they do, if they had to be replaced, they would rather it be with their aunt or their grandparent.
Okay. As it relates to Mr. Miller, have any voluntary services been started or any referrals been made?
Therapeutic visitation referral has been made. We are currently working on locating mental health services in his county. But he has been open to starting those services sooner rather than later. We did provide him at the onset of the case contact information for his request for the mental health department out in Oakland County. I've yet to see if that was followed through on, so I do apologize. Those are the only referrals, and therapy referrals have been made for the girls as well. And the trauma assessments are underway.
So if there's a change in placement, will new referrals for therapy for the children have to be made?
For the therapy itself, we would have to look into that and make sure that that is consistent. And then for the therapeutic visitation, we would more likely keep that the same down here in Adrian.
So you would have two children living in, I believe Livonia's Oakland County, and dad living in Oakland County with parenting time happening in Lenawee. Is that correct?
They would have to still come down for a parenting time with mother.
I'm asking about dad. I'm just wondering if that is the plan.
I apologize. We would attempt to seek services out that way to out in Oakland County to make it more convenient and for the family.
Okay. And so I guess this placement would bring the children geographically closer to dad?
Actually, I apologize. Livonia is in Wayne County, not Oakland County.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for
It
that.
actually would be split between 3 counties. We would be between Oakland County, Livonia, Wayne County, and Lenawee County.
Okay. But would the move make them closer?
I do not know.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you did. So thank you for that.
I don't know the distance between White Lake and Livonia, and I apologize.
Okay. No, that's totally fine. Okay, wonderful. And what is the current, I guess, where are you or where's the agency for the current plan for parenting time? Would it just be the once a week, I guess, through therapeutic parenting time when that is able to be started?
That would be the initial plan. I want the girls to be comfortable. I want them to be ready to visit. As I stated earlier, they're struggling to cope and visit with mother, who they have a stronger bond with. And so I am wanting to ensure that they are secure in their visitation before we were to extend that further.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to bring to the court's attention as it relates to Mr. Miller's portion of this case?
Mr. Miller's been very open about his willingness to do services. He wants to do the services, and so that is all I have for that.
Thank you. Okay, Your Honor, I have nothing. Well, actually, Ms. Kopis, I just have a couple of questions, just so the court is aware. What are the primary reasons the department is no longer recommending placement continue, with the stepfather at this time?
So the conditions that have caused us to originally not recommend placement are still in place. If anything, they have gotten worse over time. So we currently had an eviction hearing yesterday, and now we have an eviction trial coming up on the 22nd. As of yesterday at our family team meeting, all but one bill was several months behind. So that it would be in the concrete needs. We've had some missed appointments. We had a missed trauma assessment with very little communication as to why that occurred. I still cannot honestly, outside of transportation, tell you why that did not occur. It did not get promptly rescheduled. There had to be intervention from the department to get that rescheduled. I don't believe at this time that Mr. Avalos is taking the mental health seriously of all the girls and understanding how significant and how important these appointments are and how important it is to ensure that they are making these appointments. He also has some pending criminal charges that are coming up that we do not know the outcome of these pending charges. And those would be out of Washington County.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions of Ms. Kopis, Your Honor. Oh, I move to,
bonding. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Brooks, forgot to ask for the court to receive the court report with the attached case service plan.
No
No.
objection.
Thank you. They are received. Go ahead with your question, Mr. Brooks.
Family bonding between children and their parents is a normal, natural thing we expect. Do you agree?
I don't understand your question. That we expect. them to
Children
have-
love their mothers, children love their fathers, they want to be with them when they're young. Is that right?
I would not agree with that.
You don't?
I do not agree with that.
What do you expect?
Expect of the parent is that I guess I'm not understanding. Are you saying that all children want to love and be with their parents? I'm
Yeah,
saying that it's naturally. I would disagree with that. It depends on the work and effort put into the bond and rapport and the relationship as opposed to just singly being a parent. And
Well, go ahead.
I apologize. In this aspect and in this case, these girls did not recognize their father.
Well, you've anticipated my next question, but as a general rule, you loved your mother and your dad. The judge loved her mother and dad. I love my mother and dad. That's normal, right?
My answer will remain the same.
The answer, I don't know why you're giving me trouble with this, but fine. Who was in charge of those kids for the last 7 years? It was the mother, wasn't it?
Yes, Ms. Varga.
That is out of the norm, isn't it? That they have no bond of any kind with their father.
Out of the norm for this family, out of the norm for all families.
For all families. I'm talking as a generality.
I don't think that that's a norm in all families, but I think that all families look different. So to say that it's a norm, I don't believe it's a norm.
Okay. Well, I do. You have stated, you were here last time we had a court hearing, right?
Yes,
You heard what my client said,
yes,
that the children's mother had actively interfered with any ability he had to visit with his girls. You heard that, didn't you?
yes.
Do you doubt that that's accurate information?
I believe that Mr. Miller believes that information. I believe that we are placing the recommendation for parenting time based off of the alienation assessment, which noted that there was not an alienation and that recommended therapeutic parenting time for Mr. Miller.
What visitation has been given to my client since the last hearing with his daughters?
There has not been visitation. We have made the referral to more counseling for therapeutic visitation to occur.
In other words, he's got to get his head right before he can see his girls.
Well, we're just waiting on the therapeutic visitation referral.
Hasn't he got his head right when he's made efforts to try to see his girls and been blocked?
I couldn't speak to that.
Do you recognize any right that this man has to see his daughters?
He does have a right to see his children, and we are following the order, which is through the alienation assessment based on that recommendation, which recommended therapeutic parenting time, which referral has been made for.
Would you at least agree with me that part of a healthy, wholesome upbringing for a boy or a girl is love and respect for his parents? Do you agree with that?
Hey, Judge, my computer's froze, so I'm gonna stop
Okay.
and restart.
All right, we're gonna have to take a brief recess. We're having some technical difficulties with the recording device in the courtroom, so we'll be back on record as soon as we can. It's gonna take a few minutes.